We don't want that flag. We don't want the anthem. We don't want this political class. We want the whole thing consigned to the dustbin of history.
With me in the studio, the Conservative MP Nadhim Zahawi, who's a member of a new Tory group that wants what they call a clear plan to take powers back from the EU, and the UKIP leader Nigel Farage, who's head of the UK Independence Party. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Nadhim Zahawi, let me come to you first. Do you see this as a golden opportunity to renegotiate powers?
Well, I think we all agree there's going to be a paradigm shift in the structures of Europe, with the Eurozone countries having to fiscally integrate further. I think we can use it as an opportunity when it arises to say, look, we will help you with this, we will support you, but in return we want to repatriate powers around social and employment legislation.
Yeah, William Hague didn't seem very kicked it into the long grass, I thought, a bit this morning when he was interviewed by Andrew Marr. The repatriation of powers to this country, which is something I'm in favour of, is not an immediate prospect.
Well, he said he's in favour of it, and I would agree with him. What he's
but
really
people are in favour of motherhood and apple pie.
What he's really saying is that the priority today is to deal with the imminent crisis around the Eurozone countries when the time comes. By the way, we also passed a piece of legislation that says any treaties that require more power to go the other way towards Europe has to be put to a referendum, which he made that point on Marr this morning. But what he's really saying is let's deal with the crisis, and when the time comes, let's then use the opportunity to repatriate powers. I don't see what's wrong with that.
What do you make of that?
I don't believe a word of it. This is a pro-EU government, and since they've been in power, many powers, I mean control of the City of London, the setting up of a new external action service for the European Union, all of these things have been supported by this government. This is a government led by David Cameron who promised us a referendum on this question, and I think that politicians talking about renegotiation some point in the future misses the public mood. We want to have a say on this.
Well, on Friday, I met with 400 businessmen and women. Not one of them said to me they want a referendum today to be out of Europe. They all said we need to be in there because we export to that market. 40% of our exports go there. So no one is saying it would be a false question. What would you ask if you had a referendum today?
No, the question is very simple. Do we want to have a trade deal with the European Union or membership of political union? And overwhelmingly, as you know as a former pollster yourself, 2/3 of this country and businesses, we want a trade deal and nothing more.
Well, let's make the single market work. We've been
saying that for 3 decades.
You're quite right. It's been
we go on saying this. It never works.
Hold on. Before we get bogged down in this, do you think that there will come an opportunity to repatriate powers, and do you believe that the EU is just going to say, yeah, of course, yeah, fine, have them back?
Of course they're not going to say that, but there will be an opportunity. We all agree, nobody disagrees here, that there is a paradigm shift in the structures of Europe. They're going to have to be. For them to get through this crisis, they're going to have to fiscally integrate.
Do you believe that David Cameron and William Hague are pushing for that at the moment?
At the moment, they're looking to help with the current crisis. But when the time comes, what I will be pushing for, what the government will be pushing for, is to repatriate powers around things like employment, like social legislation, which I think is doable.
And on this whole petition issue, on where people get a chance to vote in the Commons, do you believe there will be a vote in the Commons soon on there being a referendum on Britain in or out?
There will be a debate in the Commons, but I think if you go through and think through the logic of the debate, as I just said, I will be saying this is the wrong time to have a referendum on in or out.
So you'll be voting no?
I'll be voting no in the debate, absolutely. I tell you why. What is the question you're going to ask today? What are you going to say to the public?
We want
to be in there, make sure the single market works. 400 businessmen and women on Friday said to me they don't want to be out. It will absolutely harm our economy at a time where we're trying to get growth in the economy. To then go and have a referendum to pull out of Europe is actually political suicide.
Mr. Zahawi, won't Eurosceptic viewers listening to that think, OK, well, now you've made the case for me, I'm going to vote UKIP?
Not at all. People in this country, businessmen and women, understand the importance of exporting. For us to essentially do what we want to do, which is rebalance the economy, we've got to export. Our biggest market is Europe.
These are very tired, hopelessly out-of-date arguments. Norway and Switzerland trade with Europe without being members of this union.
You must be terrified that they achieve this.
They're not going to do it. They don't intend to do it. They've got no intention of doing it.
Because the reason for UKIP will cease to exist if David Cameron and William Hague in a longer term do manage to achieve
repatriation of power. They're not going to do it. Cameron and Hague are committed to the European Union. They are true believers. They make the odd Eurosceptic noise to try and stop people voting UKIP. It isn't going to work. And if you're a Eurosceptic voter, if you want a referendum, if you want a trade relationship, UKIP's the party, not the Conservatives.
Right, Nadhim Zahawi, what did you make of the departure of Liam Fox? I'm not talking about the rights and wrongs of it, but in terms of the political balance of the cabinet.
Well, he will be missed, but if you look at who's joining the cabinet, Justine Greening was a Liam Fox supporter. She's joining the cabinet.
John Redwood sounded very down in the mouth about it yesterday.
Well, he may have been. I haven't read what John has said about it, but all I would say to you is what David Cameron's done is he's got all parts of the party in there. Andrew Mitchell actually ran David Davis's campaign for the leadership. So you've got all the different views of the Conservative Party in the cabinet.
Is it Eurosceptic enough, the cabinet?
Well, look at William Hague. If all the polling, back to Nigel's point, I was a pollster, all the polling shows that Hague is the most respected and most sound on Europe, and he's right in there fighting our corner.
In 10 years, his views have changed enormously. He's now promoting closer European integration for the Eurozone, as is Osborne, as is Cameron. It's the most pro-EU Tory leadership since Edward Heath.
I think that's a UKIP panic attack.
No, I think it's right.
And I think that is time for me to step in and say, gentlemen, I'm calling time on this one. Thank you very much indeed, both of you, for being with us. And that is it for this week. Yes.
We don't want that flag. We don't want the anthem. We don't want this political class. We want the whole thing consigned to the dustbin of history.